As soon as Patricia placed the teacup in front of me, I knew something was wrong. My mother-in-law gave me a sly smile, watching closely as I lifted the cup to my lips. "The tea tastes strange," she asked, pretending to be concerned. I took another sip, meeting her gaze. "No, it's perfect. My name is Olivia. I'm 32, and for the past 5 years, Patricia has been trying to push me out of her son's life. But this time, she had gone too far. 2 weeks ago, I saw her in my garden taking care of some unfamiliar plants. Patricia had always criticized my lack of gardening skills, so seeing her there was odd. Then she suddenly insisted on weekly family dinners, something she used to avoid. "I just want us to be closer," she had said, forcing a smile. I might have believed her if I hadn't caught her researching poisonous plants late one night. She thought no one was awake, but I saw words like untraceable and symptoms on her laptop before she quickly shut it. That's when I contacted my friend Emma, a toxicologist. I told her my suspicions, and she helped me prepare. Now, sitting at Patricia's table, I watched her closely. My husband, Mark, was working late. How convenient. "You know, Patricia," I said casually, putting down my cup, "you've taken a sudden interest in herbs." She stiffened slightly. "Oh, I just like trying new things. How are you feeling? You look a bit pale." "I'm fine," I said, checking my phone. "But I'm curious about that new plant you're growing, the one with purple flowers." Her expression flickered. "I don't know what you mean." "No?" I scrolled through my phone. "Strange, because I have photos of you planting it. It's called aconitum, or wolfsbane. Highly toxic." Patricia's face turned pale. I don't. "You know," I continued, "it's hard to detect in poisonings unless someone is looking for it." She shot up from her chair. "You're talking nonsense." "Oh, I'm feeling perfectly fine," I said, "because I've been taking an antidote for a week now. My friend Emma helped me prepare it." Her hands trembled. "You're lying." I pulled out a small recorder. "I also recorded our conversation, and I have video of you planting and preparing the wolfsbane, plus screenshots of your search history." "You went through my computer," she gasped. "No need. You should really use incognito mode when looking up murder methods." I stood up. "I've already sent the evidence to my lawyer. If anything happens to me, the police will get it." Patricia sank into her chair, her plan falling apart. "You don't understand," she whispered. "Mark deserves better. Someone from a good family, someone you can control?" I cut in. "That's what this is about, isn't it?" Just then, the front door opened. "Mom? Olivia? Sorry I'm late." Mark called out. Patricia's eyes filled with panic. I leaned in. "You have a choice. You can tell Mark everything, or I will." As Mark walked in, I smiled. "You're home early. Your mother and I were just talking about her new gardening hobby." Mark stood in the doorway, looking at us with confusion. The room was heavy with tension, and Patricia's hands trembled as she gripped the table. "What's going on?" he asked, his eyes shifting to his mother. "Mom, are you okay?" Before Patricia could speak, I held up my phone, showing him photos of her garden. "Your mom has been growing some interesting plants. Do you want to explain what you plan to do with the wolfsbane, Patricia?" Mark frowned. "Wolfsbane? That's poisonous, isn't it?" Patricia suddenly burst into tears, but this time they weren't her usual fake sobs. She looked truly terrified. "It's not what you think," she said, turning to Mark. I was trying to protect you." "Protect me?" Mark's eyes landed on the teacup in front of me. His face darkened. "Mom, what did you do?" I took out a small recorder and pressed play. Patricia's earlier words filled the room, her fake concern, my calm responses, and then her panic when I revealed that I knew about the poison. Mark slowly sank into a chair, his face pale. "You tried to poison Olivia, my wife? She's not good enough for you." Patricia suddenly screamed. "She's turned you against me. Everything was perfect before she came along." "Perfect?" Mark's voice was sharp. "You mean when you controlled everything, when you scared away every woman I dated?" I placed my hand on his arm. "There's more." I showed him the screenshots of her research, poisonous plants, their effects, how to make them untraceable. "She's been planning this for weeks." Patricia slumped in her chair, defeated. "I just wanted what was best for you," she whispered. Mark stood, fists clenched. "No, Mom, you wanted what was best for you. You tried to murder my wife." "But I didn't," Patricia protested. She didn't drink enough. Because I knew what you were planning, I cut in. I've been taking an antidote for a week, but you still poisoned me. That was your choice. Mark pulled out his phone. His hands shook. I'm calling the police. Wait, I said, covering his hand. Let's give her a chance to be honest, maybe for the first time in her life. Patricia looked at us, her mask completely gone. The powerful, controlling woman was no more, just a desperate, lonely person afraid of losing her son. When you married her, everything changed, she whispered to Mark. You stopped coming by as much. You made decisions without asking me. She made you strong, and I hated her for it. So you tried to kill her? Mark's voice cracked. I convinced myself it was for the best. Patricia admitted, tears falling. I told myself you'd be happier without her. That one day you'd thank me. She shook her head. I was wrong. I see that now. I watched her closely. For the first time, I saw her truth, not the perfect woman she pretended to be, but someone who had built her life around controlling Mark. The police need to know, I said firmly. You tried to kill me, Patricia, but what happens next is up to you. Will you take responsibility or will you keep lying? Patricia hesitated, then reached into her purse and pulled out a small notebook. This is everything, she said softly. My research, my plans, when I planted the wolfsbane. I'll tell the police everything. Mark called the authorities. Patricia slumped deeper into her chair, the weight of her actions finally sinking in. As sirens echoed in the distance, I knew nothing would ever be the same. But when I looked at Mark, I saw his pain, but also his strength. We would get through this. Sometimes the truth, no matter how painful, was the only way forward. The next few months passed quickly, filled with police interviews, court hearings, and family therapy. Patricia pleaded guilty to attempted murder, which surprised everyone except me. Maybe she finally realized that controlling everything wasn't worth losing her son completely. On the day of her sentencing, I sat beside Mark in the courtroom, holding his hand. Patricia looked smaller in her plain navy suit, her usual confidence gone. When given a chance to speak, she turned to us. I spent my life trying to control everything, she said, her voice steady despite her tears. I thought I knew what was best for my son. But that wasn't love. It was control, and it nearly made me do something unforgivable. The judge sentenced her to 5 years with required psychiatric treatment. As she was led away, she looked back at us one last time. This time, there was no manipulation in her eyes, just regret. Afterward, Mark and I walked through the courthouse gardens. I keep thinking about all the signs I miss, he said. The way she'd insulted you, the fake concern. I should have realized sooner. I squeezed his hand. She was your mother. You wanted to believe the best about her. How can you be so forgiving? He asked. She tried to kill you, Olivia. I thought for a moment, because I won't let her actions poison our lives. She's facing the consequences, and that's enough for me. 2 weeks later, I received a letter from Patricia's psychiatrist. With her permission, he shared that she had a severe personality disorder, which made her obsess over control. She was finally getting help. Mark and I decided to sell the house near Patricia's and move somewhere new, where we could start fresh. While packing, I found the recorder with all the evidence from that night. Should we keep it? Mark asked. I shook my head and deleted the recording. We don't need it anymore. Holding onto it won't help anyone heal. We bought a small house with a garden, and I started growing herbs again, the safe kind. Sometimes, while tending my plants, I think about Patricia's wolfsbane. How something beautiful can turn deadly, just like her love for her son. Mark visits Patricia in prison once a month. I don't go with him, but I send letters sometimes. Not because I fully forgive her, but because I believe people can change. Her replies are different now, honest, without manipulation. She's finally becoming the mother I needed, Mark told me after one visit. It's just sad that it took something this extreme. Last week, I received a package from Patricia. Inside was a diary she'd kept since her arrest, filled with reflections on her mistakes. On the first page, she had written, I spent my life trying to control others, only to realize the one who needed help was me. I'm sorry it took nearly destroying my family to see that. As I closed the diary, I felt a sense of peace. The woman who had tried to poison me was gone. In her place was someone finally facing her demons. It wasn't a fairy tale ending, but it was real. It was hope. Mark and I are expecting our first child now. Some people ask if we worry about Patricia's release, about her being a grandmother. But we've learned that real strength isn't about control. It's about boundaries, honesty, and allowing change. The tea set from that night still sits in our cabinet, not as a reminder of betrayal, but of my own strength. And every now and then, I make myself a cup of tea and smile, knowing that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's moving forward, healing, and living well.